What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Rated G podcast. I'm your host, G. Derado. For those of you who are new here, welcome to the show. Here on the podcast, I like to sit down and talk about just about anything and everything related to art and creativity. And while doing so, I usually have a guest on who is a fellow artist or creative. And we sit down and we talk about their craft, their business, whatever it is that they are building. And yeah, we just try to help promote that, as well as just talking about other things, getting to know each other better. We talk about other things happening in life as well. So if you enjoy this type of content, please follow if you're listening, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Ring the notification bell, that way you can keep up with all the new uploads. Share with your friends, of course. Leave comments for the algorithm, especially if you have any, questions or criticisms. I'm all ears, or all eyes, I guess, technically. You can always check out the description below for links leading to our main website, online shop, social media, all that good jazz. All right. And for everyone who is a returning audience member, thank you, of course, for coming back and for your continued support. Let's get after this, shall we? Because there's a lot to unpack here. It's just me today, no guest. And being that, I'm wrapping up, or we're all wrapping up April. I just did my last April event. So, yeah. Before I get into all that stuff, though, I want to talk about some, because as of late, I've been just talking about movies and shows that I've been watching. So I figured, we'll just keep running with the film entertainment, especially, I don't know, maybe it's just my algorithm, I'm sure, but um, yeah, I just trying to keep up with some of the news with entertainment, especially with I've just been checking out some, I guess you would call them media journalists or I don't know, entertainment journalists, journalists, I don't know. Like people um, that follow all of the stuff going on with, television and Hollywood, Disney and all that shit. So I like to get into that a little bit. I mean, I'm probably still just a casual, fan of this stuff. Or I don't want to say I'm a fan of this stuff, but I don't know. Like there are some. I guess I'm not a journalist. There you go. Just plain and simple. I'm not like a meet any type of journalist, so that's why I only know a little bit of what's going on. Um, but anyway, because I've been talking about so much of that, of what I've been watching, I just want to share some of the things that I am rather interested and curious about. I got about several movies um that yeah, it's on my radar. Some of them are relatively new that trailers just dropped, and some of them they dropped a little while ago. But the latest one, like I literally just saw it this morning, is the trailer for Mufasa, the Lion King. And now, honestly, my initial question is, and just out of genuine curiosity, is who asked for this? Like I'm not, and like I love Lion King. Like I'm a big fan of the original Lion King. Uh, I'm an 80s baby, 90s kid, so um I even myself, even till this day, I still love the movie. I'm like thinking, do we did we want, or did we need a prequel now? I mean, because The Lion King franchise. Like they have cartoons on Disney. What's it? Disney Kids or Disney Family? I don't know. I've kind of, just as of late, I've fallen off of Disney, but yeah, like they've had cartoon, like even what's it was like the one with Simba's son. They had that cartoon. But anyway, this one was kind of I remember hearing whispers of this movie, and now here we are with the trailer. And look, I will say now, after just questioning about like who like asked for this movie, I will say the visuals, of course, they're stunning. The the visual effects, again, phenomenal. Like there's no question in that. Like it's hyper realistic. But I even talked about this. I'm pretty sure I did this in an old episode when the first Lion King remake came out, and I was like, it was so real that it took all the other element. Like so I saw someone say it took the soul out of it. Like, and I mean, I described it poorly, but I was basically saying, because of how realistic it was, it took all of the more dynamic character animation aspect out. So of course you're watching it in the animation, things are a little more hyper, uh, they're a little more exaggerated and stuff. So it's just to add on to the story, and when you take that out, because now you're using, you making these like realistic animal characters, it just you're not able to pull that off. Like if when uh when Pumbaa is about when he gets stuck in that like tree root, and Nala's like chasing after him, like that whole part, like she's gonna eat me, like I can't even remember what the live action did, but I can guarantee you that it wasn't as, as entertaining or as comical, like it just because it's so realistic. Like the voice actors, which a lot of them were like what, A-listers, I'd say. And not to like judge their performance, but it just I don't know, like I remember just feeling a little underwhelmed, just even with all the visuals, like I was still a little underwhelmed with just how the story was told through dialogue. Anyway, but so again, I didn't want to like disparage the movie, but again, visually stunning, but again, who asked for this? Anyway, moving on. Look, I'll go back and say I might still watch it. So if I still have excuse me, if we still have Disney Plus, I'll consider checking it out, but I'm not sure. When I forget when this comes out, but we might not have Disney Plus by then. Uh the next movie that's on my radar is Boy Kills the World, which stars Bill Skarsgård. He's the main character. And there's a few other character or not characters, a few other actors in there that are um quite familiar with. You might recognize them too if you check out the trailer, but it's Bill Skarsgård, and he's like a mute deaf guy going for revenge basically. Um a big like action, guess you call it martial arts. There's some martial arts in there. So it's like a big action flick, it seems like. But I'm particularly intrigued by it because Andrew Koji, who is one of the main stars of it's now Netflix's Warriors, which I've talked about it so many times on the podcast. I try to get my friends on it, but it's this show that originally was scripted by Bruce Lee, but at the time it wasn't, it wasn't doable to, they couldn't find a way to make it work at the time. So, um, now this project came to life thanks to his daughter, Shannon Lee, and a couple other people that I can't remember the names right now because, again, I'm terrible with names. But anyway, it's one of my favorite shows. It's so good. Like if you've never seen it, like if you're into Bruce Lee stuff and martial arts and great drama, like this is a great show. And it's like a time period piece. So it's taking place in the 1800s, is it? During the, when oh, how does Nicole describe it? But it takes place when they're still building the railroads in San Francisco. So, and like it's when all the Chinese were, coming to California and, and at the time, the Irish were, they were being hired for a lot of the labor. And so it's like this whole thing. Anyway, it's a great show. I highly recommend it. Anyway, I'm getting lost. I'm losing track here. Andrew Koji, who plays the main character, is in this movie Boy Kills World. Okay, I'm glad I brought it back there. So I'm just, yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm interested and excited to see like his performance overall. Just see like what kind of character he plays, because I think it's safe to say he's primarily known for playing Assam in Warrior. So uh so now it's just a matter of like, am I gonna want to see in theaters? Like I want to be more open-minded about some of these movies, especially like if I'm just genuinely interested in the movie without any bias or anything. So yeah, I wanna go in with like a fresh take, like have build my form my own opinions about it. Like I mean, of course I'm I'm gonna probably tap into a little bit of uh any reports regarding the movie, uh but still try to go in with like an open mind. Uh Especially knowing this, the Crow remake with Bill Skarsgård, and it's just like ugh, I kind of unloaded on that a little bit, I'd say. So I'm not gonna do that with this movie. I mean, I- I'm just more excited about seeing Andrew Koji in it rather than Bill Skarsgård, and maybe because of the Crow. But the story, it's an interesting story, but I'm just my intention when I eventually do see this is, I just want to see some just fun action, you know, fun story or plot, and again, um, how big of a role Andrew Koji has in it. But anyway, um, another movie that I'm interested in as well, and this seems like it's like a time period film. Another fun looking action film starring the one and only handsome Henry Cavill, and co-starring along with him is Alan Richardson. No, Alan Richardson, who is known for playing Jack Reacher in the Amazon series. But right now, the reason why I was like kind of is because there's some controversy right now with him. I don't know what sparked it, but I guess he just sort of reached this certain level of status where now he feels more inclined to be vocal about his views and opinions, especially in politics. Um, and apparently religion. So I don't know. There's a lot of there's controversy behind his name right now. People shitting on him. I'm just gonna say, I was enticed by this movie because I saw he is in it as well. And I'm just gonna go without any biases, and I'm still gonna watch it. Again, I don't know if I'm gonna watch this in the theaters. Part of me wants to. I would like to really invest in and go out and experience the movies in the theaters again because I don't know, the last few times they were super fun. So I missed that. And Nicole's not as inclined, like she's more comfortable waiting till it's out on streaming and she'll watch it in the comforts of her home, which I understand. Like I'm down for that too usually. But again, I just want to go out and see these. At least this list I have in front of me are a list of movies I would consider watching in film. Especially the last one, which I'll be getting into eventually. Moving on. Beetlejuice. What, about a week ago, I think that the trailer for that or the teaser came out for that. So, I mean, this is a long time coming, right? And this is a movie that fans have been asking for, I believe. Right? um, I just again, right? We're like in this era of keeping these cherished IPs, like all like just these treasured movies and classics. We are so obsessed with keeping the classics alive or bringing them back, and I get it, but there's we've witnessed time and time again that some things should be just be left alone. Now this one, I don't know, like I'm interested. Uh, Curious to see like where this goes. I'm not gonna like spoil anything, but anyway, they got majority of the original cast, which is exciting. Of course, you got you can't do Beetlejuice without Michael Keaton. So I think that's what everybody is excited about is seeing Michael Keaton just like in the makeup and doing the voice again. And I'm pretty excited about it. It looks I mean the trailer doesn't reveal too much, but what's her name who plays Wednesday Adams? Uh oh, I forget her name, but anyway, she's in it. I believe she plays the daughter of Winona Ryder. Uh yeah, I'm excited. That's another classic, that movie, the original. I mean, that's another classic for me. And again, I guess again, 90s kid, so like this was just like something you know, re pretty significant part of my childhood. Um the next one, this recently dropped the trailer for Transformers 1, which I didn't see this one coming either. I don't know if this was a movie, a prequel, I should say. If this was a prequel that fans wanted, but I'm like, I'm not necessarily mad because there is history between Optimus Prime and Megatron. And yeah, I'm you get an insight of what their connection is, like how it started basically. And the modern fans know them as being the rivals, right? But fun fact, guys, they were actually friends back in the day. So it is interesting. Like I'm trying to remember because there was a point where I was reading it was a Dark Horse. I forget. No, it's not Dark Horse. We did the Transformers comic. But anyway, I'm gonna look it up real quick. But anyway, when I was reading the comic books, right? Because I guess they did like I don't want to say reboot or whatever in the comics, but they I guess in 2020 they did introduce the aspect of Megatron and Optimus Prime's history of actually being friends. Uh, but when I was reading it at the time, this was like G1 Generation 1 series, and I don't think they were friends, honestly. Um, now the whole thing with this movie is that they're tapping into it's Optimus Prime back, back before he was Optimus, before he became a Prime. He was called Orion Pax. So, um, was it Image? No, Image is doing it now. So, so yeah, Orion Pax, and then yeah. So I don't want to like get too much into it, the whole lore, but the way they introduce like how they become Transformers essentially, right? And what they show you is different than what I can remember if my memory serves me correctly. Um, Basically, I'll say as far as like the comics goes, the comics that I was reading, uh, Orion Pax, he was like near death, basically. Or I think he does die like for a moment and then comes back to life. But something very extreme like that happens, and then he becomes Optimus Prime. God damn, this was like how many years ago was I? This is years ago. All right. So bear with me. IDW Publishing. That was it. Thank you. So anyway, I guess in 2020 they made them friends, like really good friends, best friends. And now I didn't catch who's behind this movie, but you get to see them together. And oh, and Bumblebee too. Like I guess like the general audience knows that, Prime and Bumblebee have a history as well. Um so it's that's what you get to see in this movie. And this is the one with Chris Hemsworth because I remember seeing news of Chris Hemsworth voicing Optimus Prime. And I was like, wait, which one? And at the time, I was like, did he do Optimus Prime for the Rise of the Beast? Because I was like, I hope not. Or like maybe is he doing Optimal Optimus? Like I don't. So anyway, I didn't really know at the time, but this makes sense now. Um, yeah, so I don't know. Check it out. Come back and let me know in the comments what you think, or if you've already seen it. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. I'd like to hear your thoughts on all the movies that I've discussed so far, and one of this last one I'm about to get into, of course. Now, if you know me and you know me well, then you know I was and still am a big Wolverine fan. Now we all know, especially by now, about Deadpool and Wolverine. The trailer had dropped not too long ago. So, like again, all these movies I'm talking about were pretty recent. Um, but yeah, the trailer came out. Um, I gotta say, I was happy with what I saw. I can see how this can tie. I believe this ties in with Logan. Actually, I mean, if you've seen the trailer, right, you can see that. Um, but yeah, finally we got to see Hugh Jackman. He puts the claws back on, and this time he puts the suit on. We finally get to see him in the classic yellow and blue uh suit, and yeah, I'm just generally excited. Like I've been very disappointed in the past of like just the hype and everything, but especially with all the freaking drama, that Ryan Reynolds had to deal with fucking Disney and what's his name, Iger. Um, yeah, hopefully this came. I'll say this: I hope this movie came out the way Ryan Reynolds initially wanted it to, because that's that's like my line now. If Ryan Reynolds stuck with the project because despite everything that's happened, was able to, you know, like finalize it the way he sort of wanted it and initially, because I'm sure he had to make some of the changes that these fucking suits wanted. And I don't know if they're suits. They might just be like, you know, woke people. I don't know. But yeah, if this is as close to his vision that we're getting, like, then awesome. Um, that's really actually in sort of correlation because I am an autist. Okay, for the I'm just saying that for any new audience members. I am an artist, and and actually the same day that the trailer dropped, I had posted a this Instagram reel of some Deadpool and Wolverine fan art, and it was this was an idea I had in my head for at least like months now. Uh, where I wanted to draw Deadpool and Wolverine as well, not as, but in the style of Dexter's Laboratory, which is a Cartoon Network classic, part of the Cartoons program. And yeah, I just thought that would be a really fun idea, and I, finally just sat down and got to it. And then yeah, I was like, I just put it out, the video just showing the reveal from transitioning from a sketch to the digital art that it is now. And I got prints made for it. Um, but yeah, it was same exact. The timing was impeccable because I found it was actually like moments later after posting it, I saw, I don't know if it was like on the Marvel page or Disney or what or Ryan Reynolds, but I came across the trailer. I'm like, oh shit. Okay. Um, so that being said, if you can check it out, it's actually on my online shop. So, if you want to check it out, you can find the link if you scroll down below and check out the in the description. It's up there. And you can buy it. Yeah, sure. Go shop. See if anything entices you. Um, anyway, so I'm excited. I'm that one I'm very excited about. This one looks quite promising. And I gotta say, right, because of this fucking path that Marvel Disney has been, um, yeah, like we're really hoping this one kind of saves Marvel a bit, maybe, or just like, I don't know. It's been going downhill so far for Marvel ever since Endgame. Um, and hopefully this kind of just I don't know, brings the balance scale back to, neutral, with all the freaking shit shows they've been putting out. And yeah, hopefully they'll be able to, the charts will start going up moving forward. Because right now, I've been talking about it a lot. X-Men 97. That one's been pretty, like every episode has been pretty damn good. All right. I had my skepticism because of all the reports that these, like, again, media journalists have been putting out, all these things that they are finding out. And so I had my biases and then was very surprised by what I've been watching so far. Like I can say confidently and proudly that I'm excited every week for a new episode. I think we're gearing up to the last episode. Like I think this week is the finale for the season. And apparently, I forget the director or the showrunner, whoever that got fired before before the premiere. Um apparently he had up to season 3 like planned out, written out. So uh I don't know. Like, let's see what happens. Like, I hope this isn't going to be the case where like the first season's so good, so it gets, they green light the second season and then it kind of goes downhill because maybe they made some changes to what this guy had planned. And there was a lot of controversy to his shit too. Something involving OnlyFans. So, That's all I'm gonna say because I don't know the whole story. Just know that it was not what I guess Disney and Marvel, or I guess mainly Disney, was like, nope, this ain't cool. And then they axed them. So yeah, and I will say again, yeah, what I was getting to was that a lot of people were thinking like, oh, this might be the thing that can save Marvel. Um, and I've said this before on another episode, which I don't remember, but I was saying how when they first announced that Marvel got bought by Disney, I was like, "Oh, awesome! That means like their animate and like animated shows are gonna be good, in terms of quality of the animations." Because I've just been expressive about how even the the design aspect of the Marvel shows, like the character design, I was like not too thrilled about. So. Um, but X-Men 97, they've been doing it quite well so far. Um, oh, sorry, my nose. It's freaking pollen season, so my nose is extra itchy. Um, but anyway, after talking about all these movies, if you haven't seen any of the trailers, I'll be sure to include the link in the description. So make sure you scroll down. Also, I guess I'll just put it out there right now. Like I usually include timestamps. So you can always just skip through the stuff you're genuinely, whatever, curious to listen to. I don't know. I will say this for the listeners, because I'm thinking there might be one or two people out there that listen. Uh, I don't know how to make it where like the way it shows up on Spotify and Apple Podcast, like it's like a paragraph of the timestamps where I'd love to get it to where I can get it, like listed down. Like I don't know because I use what used to be called messy.fm, but now it's called like um what is it called now? Let me go into it. Work perfectly. And I don't know. I guess I'll have to like Google it, but I don't know how I can get it to skip down a line, like to get that space in between each timestamp. So I do apologize. Um, only thing I can say is just, catch the number on the timestamp of whichever topic you might be interested in and just use that scroll through it. Anyways, I think I just mentioned timestamps. Um But yeah, let's switch gears to um one of my favorite musical artists. They've been crushing it lately. Like they really blew up what, a year or two ago now, maybe? I don't know. Time is an illusion to me, so I can't really quite keep up in terms of timing. But anyway, the Asian pop group XG. That's right, my gals. I fell in love with them as soon as I mean, I think we all did, or for the majority of us perhaps, when they dropped their mixtapes. Okay. Now this is if you're not familiar with XG, it's this um Japanese pop group uh that also perform in English and Korean, and they switch that shit up throughout their songs, um very seamlessly. It's oh man. um anyway, it's seven members. Three of them are vocalists, and then the other four are rappers, who also have great singing voices too. So like, I mean, but the main three, um, they are mainly vocalists, singers, and then you got your rappers that are fucking. They're definitely up in the hip hop culture. I'll say, I always say, you could tell they're students of the game, right? Um, and yeah, they've been on fire. Like this past week, they dropped basically what, five short mixtapes um this time, because like at least for me, when I first discovered them, they had dropped a second mixtape which featured just the four rappers. They had one mixtape before that that just had two of them. Um, but yeah, I fell in love after hearing the mixtape number two, and then since then they've been dropping some other ones, and then now just this week they dropped five new ones. The first four is of each member, so like they're short, they're like a little over a minute, and then they dropped just like a fifth one with all of them, um, which is dope. Like I don't know what else to say. Eh, I don't know. You just got to check them out. Because if I include it in my podcast, it'll get flagged, right? So, and I've been ever since I first discovered them, I've been meaning to do some portraits, man. Because the mixtape two was just so good, man, and hard, bro. That shit was hard. So like, um. I was just so inspired and impressed by them that, that's just how I operate creatively and artistically, especially when it comes to portrait work. So, and yeah, like the video for the mixtape for this one, the second one was just the whole thing as a whole is just it's an artistic piece, I'll tell you. Like just the shots they filmed, the wardrobe. Oh my, honestly, the wardrobe for all of them too is just like on point. The set design, all of it. It's just like it's an art piece. And yeah, I've been meaning to do these portraits, but eventually, okay, it's on my list. But anyway, I don't know. It's been a while since I've talked about them, and I've been really, I'm just really excited that they dropped some new stuff. Yeah, they're just killing it. All right, where we at here? 38 minutes about. Oh, so all right, there's a couple. I got a couple news articles we're gonna get into. Something that I thought was rather amusing. This is like art news. Um, not too long ago, I'd say a couple of weeks ago, uh, this museum worker in Germany decided to start hanging his own paintings in hopes that it would get noticed and he would have a big break from it. But instead, he ends up getting fired once it was found out. And this is like an older gentleman too, like he's middle aged. Um, and there hasn't, I don't know if there's been much, has if anything more has been said. Like he was never identified in the articles, but at the time when I was reading about it, New York Post had a little bit more info than like even what the German um news outlet was putting out. But I'll just go over the article that I did initially read. The headline is Museum Worker Hangs Up His Own Painting Hoping for a Big Break, Gets Fired Instead. This was published early April 10th. Um, a German art museum worker and aspiring artist hoping for a big break got the sack after he smuggled in one of his own paintings and hung it up in the gallery. home to famous pieces by renowned artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Henri Matisse. The 51-year-old employee had drilled two holes into a wall to mount his paintings in Munich's. I might butcher this, but Pinakothek der Modern. Um, hoping for an artistic breakthrough. Authorities told the German newspaper Süddeutsche Zeitung. Zeitung. Uh, I apologize. But guards quickly realized something was amiss, according to spokesperson for the museum. In quotes, supervisors noticed something like this immediately. Um, I mean, I would think so. If you've been working at this museum for, I don't know, let's say like a decade, and then suddenly you got this like brand new piece that, like, I know museums will often rotate exhibits and stuff. Um, but I don't know, I just imagine after a while, it's like, wait, who the fuck, like, who did this piece? Like, where did this piece come from? Um, but it's just funny. Like it's pretty ballsy. Moxie, I would say. Uh, this actually brings me back to when I used to work at Michael's. I was the replenishment. I was part of the replenishment staff, so I was working, graveyard hours, unloading the trucks, restocking the shelves and the hooks. Just restocking all the products that come in. And also would set up what they call planograms, which is like the fixtures, the aisles, the main aisles of the store. Like we usually assemble those things and stock them and update update them, and for all the seasonal stuff. Like we're in charge of that. Basically the layout of the of the stores. So um what was I? Oh, so I used to restock the framing section. And I would often think about at the time, like, all right, when I eventually leave this place, like I would like to sneak in some photos, some not, I was gonna say self portraits, but just like selfies, and just like slip them in some of the frames and just see if like any of my coworkers would notice. Um, but I know by now that shit's been done. I want to say I saw something on Instagram Reels, someone doing something like that. But anywho, I mean, I just wanted to do it to make my coworkers laugh and miss me after I left. um, but anyway, I that's what it makes me think of, this whole case. Um, it says the man was an employee of the gallery's technical services team, described himself as a freelance artist. So again, I mean, I guess when you know the ins and outs, you know, kind of figure out a way to sort of slip some shit in. In quotes, the employee considers himself as an artist and most likely saw his role in the museum's installation team as a day job to support his true calling. So again, yep, when you're part of that team, start thinking, huh, how can I get in on this shit? He mounted his piece, which was 23 by 47 inches in an empty passageway on February 23rd. However, the incident was not made public until Monday, um, at that time. So pretty funny. Anything else? Okay, sorry, just scrolling ahead a bit. And the painting was hung during the early morning hour. The painting was hung during the early hour mornings, or sorry, I guess this is dyslexia hitting hitting me right now. The early morning hours, and spotted by staff soon after the museum opened for the day. In quotes, the decision was made to keep the picture on display on display while the gallery was open and take it down after its closing time at 6 p.m., the spokesperson said. It's pretty clever. It's a lot of work. If you ask me. I'd rather, set it and forget it. In addition to losing his job, the man was also permanently banned from the gallery, which is one of the largest featuring modern art in Europe. That sucks. That does suck. But I get it. Also, because you're drilling holes in there, so you're what would the word is it obstructing property? You're damaging property. So property charges, right? That's a thing. The museum would not comment on the painting's subject or style as to avoid encouraging, in quotes, copycat pranksters. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. In quotes here, all I can say is that we did not receive any positive feedback on the addition from visitors to the gallery, the spokesperson said. That's the last thing. And that makes you wonder, like, what is the like what was the painting of? I kind of wanna I kind of want to see if there's any updates because museum worker hangs art. Um, see if there's any updates. Uh, no, it doesn't seem like it. A reverse heist. One article said. All right. Well, anyway. Uh, I just thought that was funny. Um, but yeah, that's something related to art because I'm always talking about as of right now, especially about movies and stuff and AI, which is the segue into the topic. Um, yeah, but I thought that would be some fun art news to talk about. It's not dark and you know disturbing. Although this one is a little bit AI girlfriends and influencers. Now, I don't have too much on the influencers. That's actually something I recently started hearing about. Um, but we're first gonna get into AI girlfriends because I saw this article uh in the headlines. It's that AI girlfriends. Here, let me pull it up. AI girlfriends. Tech executives predicts AI girlfriends will create $1 billion in business. In somebody's quote, comfort at the end of the day. Um, Now I actually didn't read this. I didn't read this article at first either. Um, so everything I'm reading right now is just like, well, actually, the museum worker that like that because it's a short one, I read through it, but this one I have not. Um, I will say before I read the article, I'm sorry, I'm like stalling here. This is concerning. I will say right off the bat because I just feel like the feminism agenda is like, you know, has it reached its final? Is this the final form of extreme feminism? I don't know. I feel like this is the byproduct of extreme feminism. It's just like what is happening to uh, male kind, okay, the male population. Like I feel like this whole thing is creating a lot of betas, all right? Uh, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole, but I do have some opinions about. I don't know, like it's like a gender war. There's so many wars right now. We're in like a inception war, in society. Is that all right? And I'll just Leave it at that. That might even, that could inspire a piece for me, right? An art piece. But anyway, AI girlfriends. This article says it's only a matter of time before someone builds the next billion-dollar dating app that will pair real life users with artificial intelligence created uh, artificial intelligence created girlfriends, according to a tech executive. Greg Eisenberg, CEO of Late Checkout, wrote a blog post on X in which he shared that he met a man in Miami who admitted to me that he spends $10,000 a month on AI girlfriends. What the fuck? Yo, that's crazy. Holy shit. Um, Holy shit. Are these like the images of these supposed AI girlfriends? I mean, they look realistic. That's like, yeah, we know this now, and it's only gonna get better. But goddamn, 10,000 a month. How is this like a long-term relationship? What? Like, is the concept of marriage is that in the air for you? Or is it like, what the fuck is that? Oh my God. Is that gonna be a thing? Like, I guess billionaires or millionaires having AI wives, AI marriages. What? Anyway. All right. In quotes, I thought he was kidding, Eisenberg wrote. But he's a 24-year-old single guy who loves it. Look, guys, like I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Uh, all right. This is starting to become a little painful to get through. When Eisenberg asked him what he loved about it, the Miami man is quoted as saying, "Some people play video games. I play with AI girlfriends." What? What does that mean? Like, does he have like a VR set where he can interact with the? Because they got those crazy, we I've shared clips from the VR conventions. So we're very much aware of what they're capable of. I combined the word capable of. All right. So having said that, capable. Uh, who know? I'm sure we're probably there's probably early stages of that happening right now. Um, and I guess this is Eisenberg's tweet on X, which by the way, they gotta change that because like it's just like Twitter, you tweeted, X, you X'd. I don't know. The market cap, this is on his post. The market cap for match groups is $9 billion. Someone will build the AI version of Match Group and make $1 billion, over $1 billion. I met some. Okay, this is his post. This is just his post covered in derp. Eisenberg said that he was told by the man, in quotes, "I love that I could use voice notes now with my AI girlfriends. I get to customize my AI girlfriend," the man told Eisenberg. Likes, dislikes, etc. It's comfort at the end of the day. Okay, that's where that headline was going. The Miami man stated his preference for two websites, Candy.ai and Cupid with a K.ai. Boy, man, this is like fucking weird science. This is weird science right now. Minus the physicality part of it. Um man, hold on a second. This is a live reaction, folks. Okay. Candy.ai bills itself as the ultimate AI girlfriend experience, which offers virtual companions for immersive and personalized chats. Cupid AI says that it uses AI algorithms to generate virtual and fictional characters or, in quotes, companions with whom one can communicate through voice notes. In quotes, it's kind of like dating apps. You're not on only one. You're not on only one. Okay. Oh, okay. I guess like in terms of these AI sources, or I don't know what to call them, AI platforms. Um, Eisenberg said he was left speechless by the encounter and predicted that someone will build the AI version of Match Group and make over $1 billion. Match Group is the parent company of dating apps such as Tinder, Match.com, Hinge, OkCupid, and Plenty of Fish. Websites like Romance.ai offer up virtual dating partners using technology that can mimic real life human interactions. An app such as Romantic AI helps you create the perfect girlfriend with whom you share interests and views. You can talk about everything, get supported, and feel needed. So yeah, this is like fucking weird science, and I guess maybe like ex machina minus the physical part of the experience, and just interacting with a physical being. It's just AI on an app. Shit. Like, dude, this is these pictures, man. Um, this is scary, dude. This is scary. Uh, I don't want to get lost in this article because my mind is just like reeling this rant that I'm about to go on, and we'll try to make it brief. But and by the way, I always include now I make sure I include the links to these articles that I read. Look, man, I mean, I have an art series to basically talking, just messaging uh about the current condition of society, just in terms of how we communicate, how we take in informations, how I mean honestly how we experience life, man. Um all the life experiences, I'll say in quotes, all right. I'm using that word very loosely. Um, how we experience life is very much through the digital realm, right? So, and that really causes a major disconnect from reality. And that's like always been my concern. That's what I worry about. And yeah, when this shit keeps escalating, keeps advancing, it's just like I don't want to go back to my fear mongering because that before I was like very much in the middle. I'm gonna try to stay there, but at least in regards to this topic with AI girlfriends, like that's a concern, man. Because then that just really shows just how capable single. I mean, again, this is just AI girlfriends, so that's why I kind of feel like this is like a a by is it byproduct? I hope that's the right term of extreme feminism, because the agenda and just like you know women really honing in on their um what's the word I'm like for independence and all that. Like, hey, I'm all for it with like wanting equality and all that, but this really just feels like a gender war where only one comes out went as the victor, right? Like, no, like, too bad this is not a thing, an adaptation of society where both both parties are winning, both of these two genders are winning. Okay, just being a little careful there. Yeah. uh, but yeah, that's always been my thing. I guess that with my social anxiety, right? It's just like, I'm trying to be more. involved with people, have an actual physical, active social life. Um, I don't have to worry about any like awkwardness or anxiety induced things. Like I just try to keep that normal social life. Many of us, I'll say, have had prior to the quarantine. Like that shit fucked us up. Anyway, um, but this shit, man, this is creating a lot of fucking beta males. I'm sorry. I hate to fucking say shit like that, but um, yeah, this is like really gonna legitimize like the beta mindset for men. I don't know. Like it's just uh yeah. I'm like speechless. I'm um so I'm just gonna move on from that. Again, the article, I'm gonna include the article in the show description. Um Now in regards to AI influencers, I don't have any articles regarding that. Maybe I'll just see if I can look something up real quick. I see Gary Vee talking about it. He very much believes that's going to be like the new thing, the next wave. Um, I don't know, like it's really hard to push against these new times, right? Um, I I just don't know how I feel about us. I mean, we're already influenced and uh influenced and encouraged by technology as is. So to have these like very specific, uh intentional AI influencers, I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. I don't know how I feel about it, but let's see. Do they already exist? AI influencers. Oh, this is so March of this year. Explode on social media. So I guess they already exist. This is ABC News. I don't know if anyone catching this is like I don't have like a specific I myself don't have like my own like news source you know that I invest in or like heavily subscribe to. I'm just saying like what what news sources in general are saying. I'll just whatever ABC News. I'll just see what they're saying right now. Uh. Okay. Um. Oh. So. Well, there's a video here. Oh, it's 8 minutes long. Oi. I don't know. I guess I should have watched this. Should I just watch it real quick? All right. I'm gonna watch it and then we'll slide forward and get
Well,
my overall takeaway.
they all have different names and personalities. Well, my favorite ones are Agnes, and she's kind of like a dark academia, like a writer. Sid, which is like a seaside kind of seaweed girl. And then there's Billy, who's like this cowboy, and then he's also like a drag queen, which I think is pretty cool. I follow a couple on Instagram. Yeah, a lot of them look really cool. None of these influencers are human.
Oh my
A tech
god.
startup called Leap develops AI generated influencers that have real profiles on social media. And they're not the first to create so called synthetic influencers. In 2016, another company introduced Lil Michaela, a computer generated character who currently has 2.6 million followers on Instagram, and others have followed in her virtual footsteps.
Yeah.
I think we're in a place where we now are in control of what social media will look like in the future for our children, our grandchildren. And ultimately, this is an invitation for humanity to be part of what AI is online and particularly on social media.
Lead currently has 50 entities, each designed to appeal to a different audience. In April, they plan to add another 50 to their roster.
For us, we begin with a community that has a niche or specialized interest. From there, we develop an entity or a persona, personality. You can think of them that way. We think about everything from how they might live their lives, where they reside, what does the room look like, what are their hobbies.
Oh my
These
goodness.
influencers are also being influenced by human users.
So we have co-creators
Oh my
that help
goodness.
with actual entity development. So the virtual influencer themselves, what do they look, feel, move through the world like? But also, what is the content that they're putting forward?
Earlier this year, a cohort of company, family, and friends helped test their concept using a.
All right, I got it. I'm only 2 minutes in. All right, I gotta stop. This is freaking me out. Because as I'm listening to the video, I'm kind of scrolling through this article and just catching some words here, and the quote that caught my eye is it says this brings up fundamental questions of what it means to have human relationships. Here we go, back to the AI girlfriends thing. Which, by the way, let me go back real quick and ask, what about AI boyfriends? See, so that's why I'm like, all right, is this the results of extreme feminism? Anyway, back to the influencers. This shit is freaking me out, man, because it's like this makes me think about when you customize your own video game character. And now you get this. I mean, it's like, or it's like Sims. This is like creating a Sims character. And now you just, but it's just through social media. So you create this AI figure that's an influencer, and then you just follow their shit. Like, it's crazy. These influencers that are artificial have like millions of followers on social media. Like, what the fuck, man? Yo, this is so weird. And like listening to these two people, uh, because I don't want to assume their gender, okay? Uh yeah. Uh I don't even know why I even mentioned it. I don't know. Like it's so weird. Like, all right, to get a full understanding of this, I'm gonna have to really sit down and watch this through. But for now, I gotta. This isn't the time. I'll have to say. I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me to sit down for this right now. Or should I just bite down and uh maybe I'll have to just bite down and watch the rest of it. The shit is freaky, man. Okay, look, because this is sort of like a live reaction. Um, so I'm gonna continue playing. I'm gonna finish the remaining 6 minutes, but I will say the link for this article, which has this video, is gonna also be included. All right, so if you're curious enough, especially if listeners, if you want to check this out, because I probably will not include the links for the audio version just because I haven't figured out how to, you know, do all that jazz. Anyway, um, yeah, I'm gonna, you know, if you're listening, hop on YouTube, find the designated timestamp for this thing, and check out the link. This shit's wild. All right, let's get back into it.
Discord server. And you click on some images, just sort through them, and you're like, oh, this one is like too symmetrical or it's like too perfect. See, she's got only 4 fingers, it looks like. And she's also eating full apples with chopsticks. That's not realistic. Like this one, for example, I think that's like very much what Agnes likes. So like I just like go in and
Oh, Oopsies. Did it just freeze on me? Hey.
Mislike, so like I just like go in and like
Wait, is this because I don't have a fucking ABC News account or some shit? What is this? Sorry, guys.
Another group of
Oh.
creators. Another group of creators will start in April, and each of them will be paired with and control their entity via an app. Of roughly 1,000 people who applied to be creators, more than a third were Gen Z. Since
Of course, there's a shock.
they both needed
Wait,
permission
what
from
was the
their parents to
millennials
take
though?
part. When I heard that she had more than a third were Gen Z.
So 1,337 applications, 60%, I guess the users, 60% are millennials, 3% Gen X, and 30%, 37% Gen Z, which, wow, millennials though? Really? I'm not, hey, look, not to be biased towards Gen Z, but I was I would I would have thought Gen Z would be higher. But apparently it's my generation. That's a shame. That's a shame. All right, let's get back.
Since Sawyer and Eden are 16, they both needed permission from their parents to take part.
When
Oh,
I heard that she had become involved in a
yeah, why
company
would
that
you let your
was
daughter?
developing creative within the AI industry, I thought it was really interesting.
My concerns were, are they going to be safe? The other
Right.
people in the
Safety, of
program
course.
who are there, are they going to be vetted in some way? Are these teenagers just going to have AI at their fingertips and just do whatever they want with it?
I think what it has done and will do is turn the consumption of AI into something that's much more active and she's involved with.
Because they're an artistic person, they like new technology, and
Okay.
it just felt really fun. You want to make sure that your kids are being safe online and they have these experiences that are inclusive and these safe spaces.
The company says that humans are involved at multiple points to moderate the creation process.
For us, there's a lot on the front end that humans are involved, but we've also inserted points just for safety and moderation all along the way. So once someone creates something, it goes into a curation phase. So you have humans at both of those stages. And then there's the option to have a moderation phase. And so being early on and wanting to be very intentional about what content is published, we have 2 levels of moderation.
Sawyer, Eden, and other users are
Hold on, I gotta stop. Oh my goodness. Like, so was like have social media influencers, like the traditional human uh social media influencers, have they gotten so cringy that the teenagers are like, "Hey, I'm just gonna create my own and follow them." It's so weird because earlier in the video when they're describing the AI people that they follow, or they're just describing these AI figures. It just made takes me back to like listening to a girl just talking showcasing their Barbie collection. Like this one has brown hair and has this skirt and yada yada. In this video, the girl's like, well, this one has 4 fingers, eating an apple with chopsticks. It's just so weird, man. Okay, let's go back to the video. Halfway through.
Breaking into a field projected to be worth $125 billion by 2035. It's known as the digital human economy. In a 2023 study, more than half of a group of influencers polled said they were already using AI as part of their work, and 34% said they used it to generate images or video.
now that I've kind of familiarized myself with a lot of different AI images and what to kind of look for, it's easier to point out the kinds of things that AI gets confused about. AI stuff looks very filtery and very like way too perfect or way too weird to like be real. The makeup will look perfect and the lighting is perfect and the angle is perfect. Like that's not usually what happens in human photos.
Like that. That's what I'm saying. When I was addressing the AI girlfriends, they were like flawless, but that is by design. So obviously, if you are creating these, um, if you're like creating these AI influencers, I guess I gotta go back and see if you see, or well, I'm gonna. This is gonna be a long segment of the podcast because I need to see like how this even works because like if these users are the ones responsible in creating the influencers, like yeah, like they're gonna be to perfection. Like it's weird. This is weird.
Images that other people are going to see and compare themselves to. Part of me wishes that there were more, realistically human characteristics.
Like everything.
Just then you follow. Oh, it's such a weird statement to say. It's like if you want something more realistic to humankind, then fucking follow real people. Like there's actually good people out there that you can be influenced by. Okay, some real public figures. Just gotta find the right ones. Uh, God, this is so crazy. All right, just a few more minutes, guys. Bear with me.
That looks. What can we do that's proprietary to make some of these images a little bit more real? Every time I'm on a call with our team, I have bags under my eyes and I'm tired. I'm like, okay, where are the bags under people's eyes? People are tired.
The Partnership on AI and other organizations have created guidelines for social media companies to ethically distribute and label AI generated content. Social media companies such as Meta and TikTok have requested that users label content that was created using AI tools and have started
Okay,
developing methods for identifying it themselves. Some of Lead's original
that's good.
are identified as
I'm glad to hear that because that's like that's one of the general consensus about AI is like when it because it's still like a novelty, right? Um, and it's come so far already. And the general consensus is like, all right, when are we gonna be able to tell what's real, like what's authentic and not AI generated? Because like this stuff right now, even though it's got its flaws, this stuff right now is pretty tricky, I'll say. And yeah, we're gonna start fucking questioning what what is reality? What is real life? Um yeah, this is so crazy.
generated by an AI tool, but future ones may not have the same disclaimer.
Oh, but what I was gonna say before is that I'm glad that these platforms they're gonna label what's AI content and what's like regular real content because we we need something, man. We need some sort of disclaimer. All right.
Identifying it themselves. Some of Lead's original profiles are identified as generated by an AI tool, but future ones may not have the same disclaimer.
There's a general push in the field for broader transparency about identifying and noting to audiences in different contexts. You want to know that what you are seeing is truthful in terms of the narrative and what they're presenting, not necessarily just the tool that they used to do that. So there's a visceral appeal to putting a little mark on TikTok or a mark on Instagram that says this is fake. But whether or not people care and whether or not that will be applied in a context that matters is a big open question.
AI is going to become more and more like prominent kind of in like social media world and just like society in general. So I think it's like good that like younger people and older people too like get to like play around with that. Ultimately, I'm personally able to like understand what's real and what's not.
I hope
Seeing it
so.
used in like a creative way makes me kind of hopeful that it's not being used to just like destroy artists and all this terrible stuff that you think about. Pandora's box is open. AI is not going back in the box.
With any content, there are ways in which you can misuse
Like
that.
Pandora's
But
box
is that
here.
enough of a reason to not pursue that, to not engage with it? I don't think so.
showed some of the pictures to my friends and they're like, no, that's real. So many people don't actually know that it's AI, you know, they think it's real.
Just because something's AI generated doesn't mean it's problematic or deceptive. We need to make sure that while it may seem fine for influencers to be, saying that this new lip gloss is really meaningful, we don't want that same technology to be used to cast doubt on much more, I would argue, high stakes use cases than lip gloss.
All right, let's get into this article. Where we at here? 80 minutes? Oof, I apologize, guys. I hope this isn't boring. Like, so many mixed feelings. Like, this is fascinating, but this is also a bit concerning for me. Okay. And I really don't want to be like fear mongering or anything, but this shit, like, it, you know, this is like, this is just unprecedented, right? Is that the word? Unprecedented times. These are wild times. Um, let's see. I'm just quickly going through this article. We think about everything from how they might live their lives. Yeah, this is just weird, guys. Oh, look, I read this, I've spent so much time on this topic, just AI in general. So, again, the article's in the description below if you want to check it out. I will probably go back and read it, but I need a break from this. This is like, it's kind of, this is crazy. This is crazy. Game over, man. Game over. There's a lot I want to get into. Um, oh man, there is one more thing I wanted. All right. There what? Let's end on a funnier on a funnier note in regards to AI. There was this clip. I gotta send it, airdrop it. There's this was this on YouTube that I saw? Either YouTube or on Reels. Uh yeah, this is on Instagram Reels. So let me just transfer it. But it's this VR user, he was using that new Apple Vision Pro, and I guess he was out in public with the device, and I'm actually just gonna play it and watch it because it's pretty funny. But he's like, I guess it looks like he's at a restaurant, and with the Apple Vision Pro, and he forgets that he's out in public with it, and it's pretty funny. Uh, I will say I think this moment ended with the property charge. Uh, the streamer forgets he's in real life while using the Apple Vision Pro. And
Oh my god. Oh, sorry. I forgot that was real life.
so
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
So he was like picking up the plates. Cause like I mean, look, again, if you're only listening, I'll try to describe it uh as best as possible. But he's at a restaurant and wearing the VR set, and he's at the table and he's looking at like the dishes, the plates. And on his Apple Vision Pro, like you have the digital makeup of the dishes on top of reality. I'm just replay it again, but I guess he's like, in the VR, he's picking up dishes and he's like tossing them. But I guess he eventually, not I guess, but he actually eventually picks up a real dish and breaks it and is apologizing to the waiter or waitress. It look actually, yeah, it's a waitress. It looks like, but yeah, like what do you expect, dude? It's like because in the video he like whispers to himself like, "Oh, I forgot I'm real. This is real, or I'm in real life, or what does he say? It's like this is real."
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
What is this? Yeah, I forgot this is real life.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
That's pretty funny. So, um, yeah, if you're gonna invest in on a Apple Vision Pro, I'm gonna highly suggest to not wear that while you're out in public. If you're gonna be out doing things, active things, like do that like a normal person would, not with an Apple Vision Pro user. Save that for at home or in office. Like save that for the workplace that you can't not only harm yourself but harm others potentially. Like, come on. Be responsible, right? As Uncle Ben says, great power comes great responsibility. But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Oh boy, a lot of AI talk here. Yeah, let's shift gears. Um, with oh man, hold on. Sorry, I'm going through like some of my notes. It's just so much I wanted to talk about. I might have to save it for the next episode. Um, because I want to recap. I do want to recap April. Uh, the April markets that I did because it was a interesting ride, interesting experience. Um, because there were two of them that I've never done before. Well, one of them I sort of I'll, like I'm multitasking, so I apologize. No, there was one that I sort of did, but it was a collaboration with Kasama Collective, which is an organization focusing on Asian American, Indigenous, Pacific Islanders, cultures, vendors, just all that food, all that stuff. And honestly, it's awesome. Um, and there's this other organization focusing on the Filipino community. So I've never done an event with this group, just with them alone, uh, up until recently, and mixed. Like that was quite an experience because it started off horribly but ended well. Uh it like the whole day vibe like it flip-flopped. So sorry because like I am like editing my notes here as I'm talking about this. But so yeah, so the first actually before I actually do the recap, I apologize. Let me just do some plugs here first because I do have May locked in now. Um, so that being said, let me plug in some local events for my local audience members tuning in. Um, happening in Richmond is on May 18th. There's I have very little information on this, so I'm kind of waiting on more stuff, more information to share with you guys. But I will be doing an event called 804 Fest. An artist that I follow on Instagram, who is a local, well, obviously because I'm promoting local events. But yeah, she's a local artist that I've been meaning to have on the podcast. But she is, I guess, I don't know if she's the main organizer or just helping out. But she's involved in this festival and invited me to it, and it's free, which is nice. Because after what I'm gonna get into, it's definitely gonna be helpful in that regard. But yeah, on the 18th, which is a Thursday night, I am doing this event called 804 Fest. I imagine this one is probably focusing more on actual visual artists as opposed to all of our local makers. But yeah, so that's happening May 18th. I'm sorry, May 16th. May 18th, as actually I was talking about moments ago, Kasama Collective. This is going to be their 1 year anniversary, or as they call it, a birthday. This is going to be at the Answer Brew Pub, which is where I first did their event, or one of the events with them for the first time. Yeah, I'm really excited to be joining them once again, and just, yeah, for this very special occasion. So that's happening on the 18th, which is a Saturday. And then May 25th and 26th, that weekend, I'm going to be in Charlottesville for their arts festival, which is, it's a great event. I mean, yeah, just grab all your friends and your family. You know, if you got nieces and nephews who like art, like, this is a great family event to attend. I do believe you have to purchase tickets for them, but it's definitely well worth it. And every time, you know, this is like my third time going, and yeah, just all the past experiences have been just phenomenal. Like, had so much fun. But yeah, it's a great crowd for art. So that's where I'm going to be at, and I will be returning there in June 15th and 16th for their Fae Festival. Both of these events are going to be held at Ix Art Park. This is a great venue, and this Fae Festival is also another great event. They got, like, you know, I guess you can call them not cosplayers, but they have people and, you know, these you know, in costume, like little ghouls and stuff like that, trolls, and just other sort of, like, you know, fantasy, like, mythical creatures. Like, it's a lot of fun. And both of these events are organized by the same person. So shout out to Eva, who puts these together. And yeah, thank you for having me once again. This is my second time with Fae Festival, and yeah, the first time was just as awesome. I'm really excited about, honestly, I feel like I've spoken about this before, but I'm particularly excited about the live performances, the live music. It's so good. So that's happening again, June 15th and 16th. So yeah, mark your calendars, save the dates if you want to come out and see me and see all the other, you know, great local talent. Yeah, there's so much to check out at those events. But if you're unable to attend to any of these events and you'd like to shop through my art, you can always check out online, theartofgtorado.square.site. You can shop for art, or you can book me for commissions. Okay. Let's see when this might be out either later this week or next week. So this might be after Mother's Day, but hey, if you want to book me for Father's Day commission, holla at your boy. I've done quite a few in the past, and they've been real fun. So you could always, again, go to that link, which will be provided below. You can book me through there, or you can follow me on Instagram and just hit me up in the DMs. Either way, shop for art or book me for commissions at that link. Oh, and yeah, if you are interested, let me cover that. Um, First time, if it's your first time booking me for the commission work, you get an automatic 10% discount. Shipping and handling are included in the price. And if you are working on a somewhat tight budget, um, I'm open to negotiating and also open to payment arrangement. Okay, so I try to make this as affordable as I can, where we both win out of this wonderful exchange and experience. Okay. All right, that's it for the plugs. Now let's get into the April events. All right, I only did three. Um, yeah, I'm hoping for the remainder of the year I can book 3 to 4 events. All right, I really want to keep this, like last year was my busiest, and I want to try to top that this year and have, just I obviously I want to do better every year, especially like financially for the business, like, and it's been a rough start this year. So going back to the Filipino event that I did, it was a membership drive, and I will say, man, the universe it proved me right once again, because the start of that day was just, it fucking sucked. All right. And now I'm not trying to disparage the uh the organizers here. This is a weather issue, okay? Because this was my thing with last year. I made it a rule, like, all right, I'm not gonna do events until later in April when the weather is nicer and it's less windy and all that shit. But here we are, a windy ass morning. Like the whole day was windy. Like, and I know other vendors at other events were struggling, but yeah, it made, like, my setup was like at its most like minimum, to avoid. Well, first off, we had to buy a new tent like on the spot. My tent was getting fucked up. It was like parts were starting to fall. Things were falling apart. And so we ditched the tent and just decided to set up the table. And, because the winds were so high, like the gusts, the mileage was so high. So to avoid things blowing off my table, which a couple of things have, like a couple original portraits have blown off, and fortunately nothing happened to them. We got them back unscathed. And I had to leave my bins, both of them loaded bins on top of my desk, and just have it so where people can still flip through the prints inside the bins. And at first I didn't have any grids up. It was just my table with the bins with like a couple of small items on the table. It was like not it was not presentable, really. So, you know, as frustrated as I was with just the day and the weather elements, I understand why there wasn't any traction. Um, and then I got to give credit to my wife Nicole, because it was later on where she was like, "Hey, like maybe if we put up one grid, just put up some prints on it, and maybe that'll start pulling people in," which it did. But I was just so heated because of how that day was going. And I was like, all right, fuck it. Let's put up a grid. She was like, hey, so that we don't have to worry about the grid falling over and losing prints and stuff. She's like, I'll hold on to it. We would, trade places and alternate so that I'll hold the grid and she can just, hang out there. Like we stood the whole day too, man. We didn't even set up because we were on like I was so on high alert. Like I'm not fucking sitting down during this thing. I'm gonna stand up in case anything blows away. I want to be on my feet and ready to run if I have to. So we didn't sit down throughout the whole time. Um, and yo, we got burnt. Like it's you can't see it as much now if you're watching, but I had a I had a pretty decent raccoon mask, inverted raccoon mask going on. Like I can kind of see it because I know where to look, but I mean you could tell from my forehead it's pretty tan. Poor Nicole, she got burnt pretty bad because she was like, I mean, she's white as hell. So, but yeah, she got it the worst. Um, but I love her for just keeping it together, like mentally and like like I was livid. So to have her there for especially for that event, um, just to keep me grounded and keep my cool. Um, always so grateful that she helps me out. Um, so yeah, with the grid being up, it definitely did help. And I finally like it's funny because like throughout the day, I was just like, man, there's not gonna be enough self-deprecation to where the universe is gonna be like, all right, let's bring some balance on this shit. Cause like that's been my experience with a lot of events, honestly. Like I feel like I'm like I'll catch like the second, I don't know, second wave or second wind, whatever, however you want to call it. But like I go through like a portion of the event, just like I'm not gonna make my table back. I'm not gonna make profit, this and that. Like, and especially when I'm doing these alone, like I'm texting Nicole and be like, oh, this isn't gonna, I don't, I'm not gonna eat today. Or like, I'll just say all this shit, just all this self-doubt. And but then there'll be like that 1 hour, like, usually in the second half of the event time where I start making money, start making sales, and typically would make profit. And that's what happened at this event. Like I was uh I was so convinced that I was not gonna make any money. And then because of Nicole's great idea to put the grid up, I was able to make profit. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna reveal numbers here, but it worked out. So and it was funny because now to go now to reflect on the organizers. Again, I'm not gonna try to disparage them and like shit on their hard work to make this happen. Because like the one thing I should say is that this event, it's a membership drive, but it was also in celebration of um our culture's food. So because I didn't know this at first till they said something. But apparently, April is Filipino Food Month. I don't know when that started, but that's a thing. So, I, needless to say, the crowd, the people that came at that event, they were there for the food vendors. Um, and yeah, and I guess I'll say, um, I don't know, just staying my ground, listening to my wife's suggestions. Um, I guess like yeah, after people were done eating, um, they were like, all right, let's see what these other vendors are about because like there were a couple of other vendors that didn't sell food, and and I feel like these organizers, I mean, I'll FAACV, the Filipino American Association of Central Virginia. God, that's a fucking mouthful. Um, but yeah, they just focused on the food vendors and just the the food of our culture. So my one friend who was one of the food vendors, shout out to AJ of Matamis. She's a baker and she makes these delicious um ube flavored cheesecakes, cookies, brownies, like oh my god, so good. I honestly feel like I'm my diabetes um thing. Like I'm close to being a diabetic because of because I've been like, craving her stuff. She makes great stuff. But anyway, um she was there, and when we got to talk for a bit towards the end, she's like, "Yeah, I didn't even know you were gonna be here." And I was like, "Yeah, they didn't, and that's the thing. This group didn't really like they advertised at the very end, like right before the event. I'm saying, it wasn't until like that, like Thursday, Friday, they started letting people know like who was actually gonna be there, besides the food vendors. So I feel like when the people that, follow this group, who are planning to attend to their events, like I feel like if you let them know that you got artists and like these other organizations in attendance, like, they'll their intention in coming there to the event will also include checking out the other local businesses, not just the the food business. Not that I want to take business away from them, but it's just like, hey, if you're trying to support, like all things Filipino, you want to like let the foodies know that, hey, we got a local Filipino artist here. We got all these other organizations, involved. So that's my thing, is like not only the volume of promotion, but like the actual thing that you're promoting. And I have so much to say about that, especially in regards to the next event, which I'm trying to like see if there's anything else I need to recall. Anyway, no, I don't think so. So yeah, that day started like shit. I was in a shit mood, but fortunately things, you know, turned out in my favor. um, but the next event, the second one, not so much. I lost money on that one. Um, so the second event, now again, again, I just want to reiterate, I'm grateful to have been included in these like the new events, especially. Obviously I don't want to like slander their name or anything, because I know what that feels like. But I just, again, the promoting, like they need to there's some I, I'll get into some what do you call it? What's the word? Suggestions, or not suggestions, but I'll get into like my final thoughts in regards to like for organizers, like the PSA. Um, but anyway, so I did this market called the Creative Friends Market, and gearing up to this, I started having some doubtful feelings about it, just because of what I was seeing throughout, like seeing over time leading up to the event. um, I guess like I feel like because they promoted so hard on the clothing swap that they did, I don't know if that's like the main thing that they do for their events. Um, but yeah, they did a lot of promoting on the clothing swap, which honestly it didn't even last that long, like during the event. Um, but that's not to say like people left with things that they like, like my wife got a bag full of clothes. So like, hey, I'm glad, like I'm happy for them that that activity worked out, and people were, there are a lot of people that were in on it. So, but you have 20 vendors, and I gotta say, there were a few of them that were packing up early. I myself, like, I left an hour early. That's how bad the experience was. At least, well, for me and for others, because there was no traffic. And again, going back to the promotion, like, people were just there for the clothing swap, and not. I mean, look, I saw some vendors make a couple of sales, but they were like, they were selling clothing. So if you're gonna have other vendors selling, well, then again, the one of them was also a baker. So I feel like when you're selling food, like you're not like you're guaranteed gonna make profit. Um, but for other vendors like myself, like it's like people, I don't know, they gotta like they gotta be they gotta be let known that like there's gonna be artists there and like crafters and jewelry makers and all that. You gotta let these people know. And that's the thing. I feel like the organizers didn't quite do their homework on on new vendors. Like I've never done an event with them before, and they're fresh. Like it's been about a year, I think they've been doing, organizing events. Um, but I gotta say, you know, I think it will help to provide some like vendor spotlights. Um, you know, because that's what they lacked was the spotlighting their vendors. Um, and it was weird because like this was like an event for all it's a creative friend. So there were like there was like some content creators walking around taking footage. Like I did a quick little interview, which it felt hacky. I don't know. They're also like they're I feel like the DJ. I feel like having the volume that their music was at made the interviewing process kind of tough for me at least. Like I'm like yelling at the mic, I feel like. But anyway, yeah, it's just like something about I don't know, maybe because I was in a shit mood too. And Nicole was with me on that one, but it was like it it's not good when you're when you're sitting down throughout the whole thing. Like there was not enough traffic for me to want to stand up for it, you know? Like, and I think when you are standing up at your table, like that helps kind of pull in some people sometimes. And that's not to say I had zero interaction. There was some, but it's just like not not to my usual standards, if I may say. Um, Again, the people that were in attendance were definitely there for the clothing swap. Um, but yeah, so that's my 2 cents there. Is just like I think they need to promote their vendors more, and I don't know the music selection like from their DJs. I feel like they might want it because they're playing some music. I felt like if this is like a family friendly event, you might want to have like family friendly music because like this was on 420 and what's funny was the organizer was doing these daily like leading up to the event. She was doing these daily morning live streams, just adding more information and updates for the event. And she's like, because this is on 420 and you know, I think she was implying that like some vendors may be like smoking on the scene, or like even just like attendees, like people might be smoking weed on the scene, which if it was allowed, I probably would have, right? And uh, but she was like, no, like if that's what you're thinking, get that out of your head. This is a family event, so surely enough, there will be kids in attendance, which there were, but having said that, like if you pay attention to the music, some of the music was not appropriate. So like I just thought that was funny. Um and kind of ironic. But yeah, I ended up leaving an hour early and yeah, I lost money on that one. I'll say it's 3 digits. So that's not good. That's not good. Um and moving on to the final event, which I was really like this one I was like hopeful for, and I was keeping check of the weather every day. Well, if not every day, at least every other day. making sure that the weather was gonna hold up. And I knew at the beginning it was gonna be cloudy. The weather, the climate, what the temperature wasn't gonna be that high. It was gonna be like what 69, I think I saw the one time. So I was like, all right, it might be a bit chilly and cloudy. Okay, that's fine. Um, promoting a bit about it. I try to do my part. And you know, Pop Up RVA, I've been pretty openly vocal about them. Like they do, they're very active on promotion. But sometimes, when you're like a week, like a weekly event it can lose its, um, I don't even know what to say. It can certainly lose its momentum, right? In terms of like excitement and value and stuff, like, you know. Um, but yeah, I decided to do another one with them. And yeah, so despite the weather not being great, I was still hopeful. But yeah, this one was the same thing. Actually, this one, like with Creative Friends Market, that day was like a beautiful day, actually. And then Pop-Up RVA, that one was a bit like kind of sluggish. Like it rained a few times. That was the thing that I did not anticipate. Like it was like day of, I find out it's like shit, we're gonna have some rain. And then being actually out there, it was actually pretty chilly. Like I was actually quite cold that my neighbor who I'm rather familiar with. So shout out to Christina. Um well, what's her? I think she makes jewelry or something. Um but her mom was so kind to lend me one of her like scarves, like one of those scarves that's kind of like not a poncho, but it's like one of those big scarves. It doesn't wrap up, it kind of drapes over you. But she was so sweet to lend me her scarf to keep me warm because I was just like trying like in fetal position in my chair trying to stay warm. uh let me I want to give her a proper shout out. Uh Daniela Noel collections, all Daniela with one L. um yeah, they lended me a scarf, and that was very nice of them. um but yeah, it was really chilly there. You know The only thing that was really keeping me in spirits until there was was no more of it was the live music. Because yeah, like it just when all the elements, you know, like the weather is like a bit crummy, and then you're not, it's wet out, and there's not a lot of foot traffic, barely any interactions. Like that's the sucky feeling, man. Because like I always say, if I don't make any money, but I can at least get enough business cards, which I ran out of. But if I can give out enough business cards, or like have enough engagement where I can give out business cards, like I barely had like conversations with people. Like there just wasn't enough people in attendance to have conversations with. Like that's the last straw, and like what a bummer that can be. Although good friend Matt Schmidt, he's a caricature artist. He's been on the podcast before. I gotta give him a shout out because he visited me, and that was really nice. That was probably the highlight of my day is him coming by and just talking to me and checking in with me. Like he's been checking in on like how these events have been going. But yeah, so yeah, shout out to Matt for visiting. I really appreciated that. But yeah, like towards the end, I think I'd say like 20, 15 minutes to the end of the event, people already started breaking down their setup, including myself. Like there was a home game at that stadium because this was held at the Diamond Stadium. Um, so there was a game right after, so we had to be out like immediately. But everyone's just like, fuck it. There's like 20, 15 minutes left. Like, no, no one's gonna sell anything. So let's just all go. So yeah. So that sucked because then I made $20 at the end of that, towards the end of that. So I mean, hey, $20, which it's hard to like be positive about that when you know that you lost X amount of money at the previous event, and then at this one you couldn't make that back and or make any, just make any money back. Well, I made $20 back, but when you add up the money that I lost, it's like, that sucks. Yeah, so um now did I say in the very beginning like how like like so like that one, that's another event where there wasn't enough self-deprecation to where the universe could save me. Like it only did that once out of the three. And I guess like that was it's like that Family Guy bit with Spider-Man, like you only get one. um so I lost a significant money this month, but I mean now this is where I'm gonna try to nitpick the positives, comparing to last year. Because last year, at that point, I was like, this is the worst start of my like market season. You know, this year, still sucky start, but when I zoom out and I compare it to this year as to last year, this was actually a better a better outcome. I made uh you know a little over twice the amount than I made last year. So that's a plus. But I don't have the numbers to like I don't know how much the investment. I don't know how much I invested last year. So if I made more than last year, I don't know if I lost more than last year. Like, I hope that's not the case. But since I don't have those numbers, I don't have anything to be particularly sad about. I can only be positive over the fact that I made more money than last year, last spring. Um, so that's the plus. But I do want to get into this polite PSA for for organizers, for these markets, because I really think they make a huge difference for your vendors, and they make us feel good. No, um, or just the experience. Better the experience. Yeah, be mind, especially for like novel organizers. If you're new to the game, be mindful of your location because look, I'm sorry, Creative Friends Market, you definitely overpriced your vendor fee. All right, it's been the most that was like the most expensive fee that I've had to make. That wasn't like a whole weekend arts festival. All right, with art festivals, I understand why the vendor fee can be, you know, over 100 to maybe almost two. Well, the ones that I've done, they've been under $200. But again, at least I get it. It's a full weekend event. Um, and you're selling tickets and stuff like that. So I get it why those rates are higher. But for an event like this, I I would definitely consider, charging a little less. Lower your vendor prices, especially if your location isn't known for having these types of things going on. Yeah, I don't know. Um, so be mindful of your location. Be mindful of the vendor fees. All right, you want to, if your intention is to, to support and promote your local creatives, you want to have these things be affordable. especially if they're, these small businesses, if they're not, like they're still in development, they're still trying to, you know, build their clientele and just all that stuff. Like any new business, right? Um, and also research your demographic, the people um that support your events and what you do. Like research your demographic and definitely research your vendors, okay? Because if you want to be able to spotlight your vendors, you want to know what they provide, what they serve, what they sell. And I say that because when the organizer for the Creative Friends Market, when they did one of their last live streams, they finally went through the list of vendors, but they didn't really have much to say about them. Right? And I feel inclined to say that's because they didn't know enough about their actual um product. Like when they mentioned my name, like they didn't really say much about what like this type of art that I sell, or nor like the type of art that I created. They just mentioned that an art, Art of G Torado is going to be here, and they kind of just went on to the next one. A more familiar vendor. So I, so that's why I say do some research on your vendors. If you are going to consider doing more spotlights, okay, because that's gonna that could draw more potential interest, right? In your events, build more hype. So, um, yeah, that's all I'm gonna really say. Yeah, for now. And yeah, because you can't. I mean, nah, this might sound like I'm gonna backtrack or flip flop or whatever, but you know, promoting like that thing is tricky because like when I spoke to one of the other vendors at the Creative Friends Market, they were saying like, yeah, I thought this one sounded promising because of how much they promoted and whatnot. And I said this about pop-up RVA as well. Like sometimes you gotta be careful about the promotion because like it can only work so well. Like sure your promotion is at a high rate, like you're always promoting every day, which is great. It looks good on social media, but then it's usually what it is that you're promoting also. Like I really think you gotta be very considerate and focused on the objective of like what you're promoting. Because again, you can have a high volume promotion, but sometimes that doesn't work. Whether it's because of weather, whether it's because there's other events happening, or maybe there's something your advertisements are lacking. So that's just like again, that's just my 2 cents. Um and I don't know, I wish I had some more specific solutions to that. But I'm just trying to be more. I'm trying to be considerate of that. How much time I'm spending on this topic, but yeah, just a few things to consider. All right, location, the demographic of your attendees, um, your vendor rates, um, types of vendors you're having, and again, having the information on about your vendors. Uh, yeah, just those things they matter. Okay. All right. Do I want to talk more about? I was gonna get into art projects, but you know what? I might just save that. I might just save that for the next episode because I feel like I've done 2 hours. The last couple of solo episodes, I was able to keep them within an hour. And then I started experimenting with this format of doing, about 30 minutes of just me talking before I introduce a guest. And I personally, I enjoy that process, but I don't know if you guys, the audience members, are enjoying that platform. So again, if you're watching, please, um, sound off in the comments below whether you like that. If you've listened to an episode where I had 30 minutes of me just talking about stuff that's happening in life, um, and then bringing in a guest later, because like these episodes are easily over 2 hours. Having done, having going with that format, and yeah, but now that I'm just doing 2 hours, over 2 hours now of just me talking about a bunch of stuff that I've been keeping to myself. Also, just it's been like 2 weeks since the last episode. So I guess like that's why I have so much shit to talk about. Yeah, I'm gonna save some stuff for the next episode. Um, so that being said, I don't have a quote to end this podcast with. I will have one for the next episode. Um, so yeah, I don't know. If you've been tuning in, thank you so much. And also for my listeners that just only listen to the audio podcast, um, if you have comments or questions, hop on the YouTube version, or hit me up on Instagram and shoot me a DM if you have any comments or questions. I'm I'm very vocal about being open to addressing them, especially if there's questions. I always like to bring them up on the next episode and answer them. Um, so yeah, that being said, thank you so much for joining me here. I hope this was an interesting podcast for you to listen to. Um, and yeah, as always, follow if you're listening, subscribe if you're watching, ring the notification bell to keep up with the uploads, share, comment. Um, yeah. And I'll say more importantly, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay driven. And I will catch you on the next one, guys. Peace out.